Hi guys, welcome to the channel. My name's Anthony Cummins. I'm a historical researcher and author. Please enjoy the video.
Right, our ninja from India. Okay, before I go through this video, there are three things that need to be said. Number one is you may be unaware of this book. This is The Lost Warfare of India. It's actually by this gentleman and me. Now, we did this a few years ago, but I've not really got around to telling everyone about it yet, but it's highly illustrated and it's done. And I'll talk more about that at the end of this video. But if you are an Anthony Cummins book collector and you don't have a copy of that, you need to get yourself a copy. It's a lovely, lovely chunky book. And as I said, I'll talk about that at the end of the video. Second is I am not saying ninja are from India, the end. Don't run away from this video and say, Anthony Cummins says ninja from India, the end. It's a complex debate, but this is the question, okay. And third is, I put a video up, my last video that went up, which was how to be a modern samurai, a test chapter, has really not done very well in views. My other videos do quite well, or well enough for me, and that one just dipped. So guys, it's a free chapter that you can go and get. So in the links below, I will link this book, The Lost Warfare of India, again, fully illustrated. And also I will link that last video so you guys can go back there and click it. It's literally a free sample of the audiobook we have just put on Audible, and it seems everybody missed it. So there you go. Okay, let's get on with our ninja from India. Step one, people are going, what? India, Japan? That shows a limited knowledge of Japan. So way back in time, before the samurai, there's something called the Indo-Europeans at the top. Boom, they're there, yeah? World culture is going on, Africa's going on, Japan's going on, China's going on, and all that. But for some reason, the Aryans or the Indo-Europeans and this area just suddenly burst onto the world scene. And they go west into and create Celtic Europe, and they go east and create the steppes and horse culture in the steppes, which delivers us the Mongols and chariots and all that sort of stuff, and Chinese. So what happens here is, let's forget the Western bit for the minute, goes into India, create, reincarnation is brought in and all that type of things. It's a little bit more complex like that, but basically goes into India. The chariot culture starts. They face off against China. China adopt the chariot, the horse. They adopt horse warfare, and of course that echoes into Japan, where carts and the horses become staples of Japan, and that is literally Indo-European culture going right through. Now, worse than that, apart from Indo-European culture, Indian culture adapts from Indo-European culture, and you get Buddhism, and Buddhism, it becomes a really central part of all Indian sort of ways of life, if you like, or much of Indian ways of life. But what people forget is that it leaves India, goes to China, and then Japan. So when you are in Japan or looking at Japan, or you're seeing these very Asian things like East Asian Buddha statues, they're Indian, okay? If you say, is there any Indian culture in Japan? Ask yourself, have you ever seen a Buddhist statue in Japan? Yeah, there are billions of them. So Indian culture through the lens of China arrives in Japan. Now, just to get you up to date, many moons ago, I produced this book, which is In Search of the Ninja, and without doubt there, I look at the actual connection between China and the ninja. And it wasn't me who first connected it, the ninja first connected it. We all know, everybody knows, the samurai culture, if you like, is heavily influenced by Chinese culture, and that the ninja are no exception. They are extremely heavily influenced by Chinese culture. But that is just a known fact, all the way from Sun Tzu, all the way right up through to dog infiltrators, which are absolutely Chinese concept. But what we do forget is that we forget, of course, once something arrives in Japan, it's made Japanese. So you can't literally just transplant Indian spy Japan, Chinese spy Japan. We know that the Indian culture went into China, this Indo-Chinese culture went into Japan, and from there the Japanese made it Japanese, which is what we would consider Japanese today. Okay, so for basics, Chinese spy, go to In Search of the Ninja and you'll find it there. So The next thing we have to realize is that simply because something looks like something else doesn't mean it's connected. So there we have tradecraft and spycraft. So you could say when the Western traveller, so let me just get this right. So William Adams comes across, William Adams comes across in the year 1600 and hits Japan. And he becomes really high level, speaks Japanese, becomes Hatamoto to Tokugawa Ieyasu, and he's there. And Tokugawa Ieyasu is saying, tell me about Elizabeth I and all these types of things. And William Adams say, well, actually, now I'm just doing this from my memory, there's Walsingham and he deals with spies. Do you think that William Adams is going to use the word spies to him? He's going to say, oh, Kanja or Shinobi no Mono. So we have spies in our country, we have Shinobi no Mono, we have Kanja in our country. That does not mean, that conversation never took place. But I'm saying if it did, he wouldn't go, blah, 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 spies, blah, 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 agents. He'd be like, blah, 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 Kanja, Shinobi no Mono. And so, but that does not mean that the spies in England and the spies in Japan are connected. The simple fact is espionage is a base level of all sorts. So when you're looking for connections of things, you're looking for actual trackable connections and of course linguistic connections, and you're looking for an array of connections. For example, which I've pointed out for many years, is the dog connection. Things are called big dogs, little dogs. Dogs in China are basically thieves, and it's a word that just means a man or a woman who's a thief, but I assume men mainly. Dog thieves. And in Bansen Shukai Shinobi stuff, we actually have dog thieves, and it's clearly a linguistic trace back to that. The chances of Chinese culture overlapping Japanese and the word dog being used for thief and the word dog being used for thief there, it's getting slim that's just appeared individually. So we know there's a Chinese connection there. So what I'm going to do now is just take you through some of the connections here and see what you think and see whether Indian culture actually moved into China, which eventually moved into Japan. That doesn't mean it is, but it means, is there a connection? Now, the first one is page 22 on this book. Now, in the original manual to this, again, which I'll talk about at the end, so let me get this right, actually. This is based on an ancient Indian manual that myself and the guy is actually, that's his name, but we call him Sonny. The guy Sonny himself, it became into public domain, so we broke it down and reanalyzed this ancient manual and put it into an easy to understand. Again, I'll explain that more at the end. But this ancient Indian manual says that there are 5 types of spy. Yeah, everybody else going, whoa, okay. The fraudulent, the recluse, the cultivator, the trader merchant, and the priest. And they're the 5 types of Indian spy, as opposed to local spies, inward spies, converted spies, doomed spies, surviving spies in Sun Tzu's Art of War. So first of all, we have 5 types of spy from India, 5 types of spy in China, 5 types of spy in Japan. Whether they're connected, we don't know. Now, this ancient Indian manual, right, now this might be coincidence, but it literally is like quoting Sun Tzu. It says, hence no outside person shall know of anything of the work which the king has in view. Only those who are employed to carry out shall know it, either when it is begun or when it is accomplished. Whoever discloses counsel shall be torn to pieces. Sun Tzu's Art of War says only the people in the conspiracy should know, and if they leak it to anyone, they should be killed automatically. So straight away, you're like, even though it's not a connection, like the sentences are so close to each other that you're like, okay, has Sun Tzu got hold of this ancient manual, or is that just a coincidence? What do you guys? Another aspect is both this ancient Indian manual and the and Chinese manuals and Japanese manuals talk about river crossing. Now this is a difficult one because river crossing is absolutely in all cultures, but it's got the idea of spies, it's got the idea of advanced scouts, the idea of making bridges that cross rivers, and in intricate ways in which to use advanced scout spy shinobi to get across or map out rivers. Now the images are all made by Sonny, and the manual goes into how to plant doomed spies. They don't call them doomed spies, but basically how to plant these men in there that will give away false information and end up being killed sort of job. But this idea that you plant in people inside there, and that these sub-plans or long-term plans will come to fruition, and then your agent, so you have a person here, the Lord, and you have his tactical team, and they have agents working everywhere to bring about change or false information. Again, can you say that's tradecraft, or can you say it's connected? India, China, Japan. We know there's a flow. Buddhism is the icon of this flow. You literally see Buddhas pop up. Is this the art of war still going this way? Now, the art of animals and fire. Now, I don't know if this is available in the West or if it's been used in the West, but the idea is that you've got monkeys with firebrands attached to tails. You've got birds that fly out. These are all in Chinese, maybe not monkeys, but birds flying into nests in other people's houses. They used to let birds go with embers. All that would go and nest in the local city, and everything's made of thatch and wood and all that, you know, that type of material and cloth. It goes up in smoke. Now, they're using monkeys for this in this sort of way. Now, what's interesting here is the recipes in this manual outright look like recipes from Chinese manuals and, of course, Japanese shinobi manuals. Fireballs, small balls prepared the mixture of whatever that bloody Latin name is. Sorry guys, these are basically just lists of Latin names, which I'm not going to try and pronounce. So basically, you've got all the Latin names of all the trees and all the different grasses and chemicals that were used to create these little balls of fire. Now, we've seen these balls of fire in loads of shinobi manuals. Your sulfur, put it together with certain grasses, and you light them and you can throw them into the enemy and into a dark place where you think the enemy might be and check if the enemy are there. It's absolutely reminiscent of Chinese and shinobi manuals. Now, this includes loads of tools. There's fire tools galore. There's fire arrows, fire people, fire buckets, everything. It is literally like watching the same. It's like looking at the same as the old Chinese gunpowder recipe manuals. They are literally almost the same. I'm not saying the recipes are the same, but you read them, you could be fooled into saying they're both from the same tradition. These lovely lists of how to create fire and lots of different tools. I just want to show you how well Sonny has done on the illustrations here. He's really brought it together with his illustrations. Again, he did a good job, and I will explain this towards the end. There's assassinations in it. There's loads and loads. For example, how about this death gas? So the powder prepared from the carcass of animals such as frogs, a partridge, a centipede, a crab, a lizard, blind snake, blah blah blah. The smoke caused by burning the above powders causes instantaneous death. Any of the above insects may be heated, and the black snake, blah blah blah, when it's burnt, it will cause people. So basically, this idea that you're creating gas bombs, throwing them in, and people are coughing up, bleeding out. We see this right in the shinobi, like literally exactly as it is. This is almost, if somebody had given me this in English and said it's a ninja manual, I wouldn't have disputed it. I'd been like, okay. Or, you know, a war manual from China, Japan. The ancient original manual talks extensively about disguises, how to disguise yourself, the use of poisonous animals, infiltrating through disguise, becoming a merchant. All that sort of stuff is all in there. However, one of the biggest connections that I've come across is night vision. Sonny's lovely illustrations there. This night vision one is absolutely, in my opinion, a tradition that has gone from India to Japan. I might be wrong, but you listen to this. So, having pulled out both the right and left eyeballs of one of the following animals, cat, camel, wolf, boar, crow, owl, or any such animal that roams at night, you should reduce them to powder. Whoever anoints his own right eye with the powder of the left eye and his own left eye with the powder of the right eye can see anything in the pitch of dark. Blah, blah, blah. So, that is ridiculously close to many schools, like I think Fukushima Ryu and possibly Chikamatsu stuff. Is absolutely, you get an animal of the night, usually in this case dogs. Now, dogs in Japan are considered as animals of the night because they're strays that hang around at night trying to get extra food. So like night, they're not like your pet dogs, these are wild dogs. And the idea is you kill them or rip their eyes out, dry them, powder them up, and you rub them here around there, or you keep the eyes on a string within a bag and you tie around, and that will give you better vision at night. I have never seen that in a Western tradition. I've never seen anything in the UK or Europe which says, now tell me if it's there, but it says you can literally get the animals of a night creature, powder them, rub them on your own face or eyes around about, and you can have vision at night. Those elements are all there in this Indian classic, and they're all there in ninjutsu. That, to me, is a crazy connection. This also appears, I've got an unpublished shinobi scroll still in my collection, and it says you turn a skull upside down, you grow beans, sprouts in it, and you use these beans, and you use them similar sort of way, and that you can see in the dead of night. And this appears in here as well. Turning up skulls upside down, putting mud in them, growing beans, and use them as invisibility talismans, if you like. Exactly the same. India, Japan, the same. Now this of course goes on to talking about how to build connections with people, how to deal with different spies. Basically guys, the entire book is the Indian art of war. Definitely the Indian art of war. We've called it the lost warfare of India because nobody really talks about it. It is there, it's a proper script, everybody knows about it, but it's very rarely talked about in the military enthusiast community. So give me a couple of minutes now and I'll talk to you about this book. So if you've not got it, go get it. Right, so what is this text I've been talking about? So there you go, that's it. It's a Penguin classic and it's called the Arathusastra. I'm not very good with Indian words, but there you go. It's huge, massive. And what happened is, this is an ancient Indian an ancient Indian manual on government. So basically it's got the king, well-organized state, the treasury, civil, departures from government, law and justice, covert operations, foreign policy, defense of war. Now this is a Penguin classic. It's well known to like an obscure few people, but in the sort of samurai, Japan warfare community is very rarely known. So what happened was this translation came into the public domain in about 2015. Public domain means anybody can publish it. The author's long dead and all rights are gone to the public. So what we did is we didn't want to do it again because you can literally pick up a Penguin copy. But Sonny approached me and said, Anthony, he said, I love the way you do your information, getting, you know, people to understand it in an easier way. He said, will you help me put my book together? So Sonny's the one who's done all the research. Sonny is the guy he's done loads. He's got a channel, so make sure you click his YouTube channel down below. I'll put it all there. That'll all be there. But what we did is we took out the military sections and we formed them into a more understandable idea with quick lessons, quotes, dividing up what it actually says and illustrating what they actually meant, illustrating how the skills in there are used. It's got everything from smoke machines, demons, weird nuclear weapons, because you know everybody knows about the Vedas. The different gods are all quoted in there. Sonny did he did more work than I did without a shadow of a doubt, but he said, Anthony, I would like to use, you know, your simplification methods and of course my YouTube channel and everything to do it. So we've done it and we've enjoyed it. Now we brought it out a couple of years ago and we've just let it sort of get out in the sort of Indian warfare community so that they understand, you know, what it's about before we give it out to you guys. But now I'm letting you guys know, so go get a copy if you want to basically follow on with the Anthony Cummins stuff. In the near future I'm going to be doing more of this. I'll be showing you stuff from this, so if you want to get a copy, I'll be doing more YouTube videos and we'll go through that sort of stuff. My favorite thing in there is how to assassinate a king. It's got some amazing assassination techniques in, just like that. That's a lot of work. So, but it also has weird, strange magic and all that sort of stuff. So enjoy it, guys. So things you should do: A, get a copy of the book. B, go and see Sonny's channel. Yep. C, check out my last video, my free chapter for how to be a modern samurai. Most people just skipped it, so go and have a look. Apart from that, comments below, discuss. We know Shinobi have an origin in China. Do they also have an origin in India?